If your mind never really shuts off during the day, your dreams may not get quieter at night. They may simply change form. And if you've ever woken up more exhausted than when you fell asleep, there may be a reason for that. During the day, overthinking sounds like overwhelming thoughts, replaying conversations, imagining worst case scenarios, second guessing decisions, trying to predict what will happen before it happens, searching for the right answer long after the moment has passed. But at night, that same pressure may return as images, like being late, or you're lost, or you're being chased, or your phone stops working. Maybe you're trying to solve something impossible. Maybe you're trying to speak, but nothing comes out. And if you have dreams like this, they may not be random. The dream may not be repeating your exact thoughts. It may be expressing the same emotional pattern in symbolic form. Overthinking doesn't always end when you fall asleep. Sometimes the mind keeps working on the same unfinished emotional material, but the language changes. During the day, the language is analysis, but at night, the language is image. So a small fear can become a dream where you feel like you're being chased. A private doubt becomes a test you forgot to study for. A feeling of disconnection becomes a broken phone. A sense of overwhelm becomes a maze, a storm, or an endless hallway. The dream is not necessarily inventing something new. It may be amplifying something you're already carrying. That is one reason overthinking dreams can feel so vivid. Overthinking is rarely just thinking too much. It usually comes with pressure, uncertainty, hypervigilance, a need to solve, manage, control, or prevent something before it happens. So when the mind enters sleep, that emotional charge does not always disappear. It becomes a scene. And sometimes the scene feels more intense than the original thought because dreams do not always have to be reasonable. They do not have to stay within the limits of ordinary life. A conversation you keep replaying becomes a room you can't escape. A deadline becomes a train you keep missing. A fear of being misunderstood becomes a dream where your voice won't work. A life that feels too crowded becomes a house with too many rooms. The dream can feel strange, but underneath the strangeness, there's often emotional logic. From a Jungian perspective, there's an idea that dreams can help balance what the waking consciousness overemphasizes or leaves out. What you suppress during the day may return more vividly at night. What you avoid feeling may come back as something you have to experience. Not to punish you, but to bring something back into view. So if your waking life is dominated by analysis, your dreams may become emotional. Feeling, instinct, fear, longing, anger, grief, confusion. The parts of you that do not fit neatly into a thought spiral. If your waking life is all about control, your dreams may become chaotic. If your waking life is full of suppression, your dreams might become very dramatic. If your waking life is spent stuck in your head, your dreams may pull you back toward the body, the image, the feeling. Now, not every dream works this way, but from a Jungian perspective, this is one useful lens. The dream gives form to what your waking mind has not made enough room for. For overthinkers, that question is often, what am I feeling underneath all of this thinking? That is where the dream becomes interesting. Because overthinking often feels productive. It feels like you're solving something. It feels like you're preparing, protecting yourself, staying ahead of danger. But sometimes overthinking is a way of not feeling something directly. Instead of admitting I'm scared, the mind analyzes. Instead of admitting I'm hurt, the mind replays the conversation over and over. Instead of admitting I don't know what I want, the mind keeps searching for the perfect answer. And then at night, the dream cuts through the explanation. It gives you the feeling first, whether that's you're being chased, you're lost, you're unprepared, you're trying to speak, you're trying to get home, you're trying to reach someone, you're trying to finish something impossible. The dream does not always tell you what to think. Sometimes it shows you what it feels like to live inside the pattern. That's why certain dreams can show up again and again for overthinkers. One common dream pattern is dreaming about being late. You're rushing somewhere important, but you can't get there. You miss a train, you forget the appointment, you realize you're already behind. That kind of dream can carry the feeling of pressure, the sense that time is running out. the fear that you're failing some invisible expectation. Another pattern is dreaming about being lost. You may be in a hotel, a school, an airport, or a house with too many rooms, and you can't find where you need to go. This can mirror the feeling of trying to orientate yourself in a life that does not feel clear yet. Another pattern is dreaming about a broken phone. You need to call someone, but the screen won't work. You can't type, the messages won't send. You know what you need to do, but the tool that connects you to the outside world keeps failing. That kind of dream often carries frustration, helplessness, or disconnection. Then there's the impossible task dream. You're taking a test you forgot to study for. You're responsible for something, but you don't understand the instructions, and you're trying to finish a task that keeps changing. That is overthinking translated into dream architecture, a mind trying to solve the unsolvable. And then there's the dream where you lose your voice. You try to speak, but nothing comes out. You try to scream, but nobody hears you. That dream points towards something deeper than overthinking alone. It asks where you're silencing yourself, where you're afraid to say what you actually mean, where your thoughts have become a substitute for expression. But here's what those dreams are often also about. The missed train is not only about being late. The broken phone is not just about communication. The impossible test is not about failure. They may share the same root. And once you see it, you may start to notice the same theme across multiple dreams. But the important thing is not to turn these into fixed definitions. Because dreaming about a broken phone does not mean the same thing for everyone, and neither does dreaming about being lost in a hallway, or missing a train, or failing to take a test, or feeling that you're chased. These dreams can mean different things depending on the person and the life around the dream. That's why generic dream dictionaries often fall short. They can be interesting starting points, but they treat the symbol as if it carries the whole meaning by itself. And dreams are more personal than that. The better question is not what does this symbol always mean? The better question is what emotional pattern keeps returning. Because one dream can feel random, but a pattern of dreams can become a map. Maybe missed trains appear whenever you're afraid of change. Maybe getting lost shows up when your life feels directionless. Maybe broken phones appear when you feel disconnected from yourself or someone else. And maybe dreaming that you're being chased returns whenever you're avoiding something emotionally important. Maybe dreaming that you've lost your voice appears when you've spent too long being agreeable at the expense of being honest. This is where dream journaling matters. Not because every dream has one hidden answer, and not because you need to code yourself perfectly every morning. If you're an overthinker, the goal is not to overthink the dream too. The goal is to notice it. Write it down. Notice the emotion. Notice the image. Notice what was happening in your life around the time that this dream appeared. And then, over time, notice what keeps coming back. Because your dreams may not be random noise. They may be showing you the emotional pattern underneath the thought spiral. And that's why I built Nightly Echoes. Nightly Echoes is a dream journal that helps you record your dreams, reflect on their meaning, and begin building your own personal dream dictionary over time. Not a generic dictionary where every symbol means the same thing for everyone, a personal one, because your dreams speak in the language of your own life. And if your mind won't shut off during the day, your dreams may be one of the places your inner life keeps trying to finish the conversation. Because your mind doesn't stop at night, it just stops using words. The question isn't why are your dreams so vivid? It's what have they been trying to say while you were too busy thinking to hear them. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to find out what your dreams mean to you, then please visit nightlyechoes.com.